Now, even as day one of the two-day nationwide strike called by central trade unions turned violent and cost the economy a loss of rupees 20,000 crore, the strike enters the second day today with more unions joining it. Joining us in the studio, we have Mr. KG Suresh, who is an analyst. Mr. Suresh, clearly the manner in which Bharat Bandh we are witnessing in the country 2 days. Today is the second day. We have the budget session which is starting today. Clearly a lot of inconvenience to the common man. What is the government stand? They seem to completely say that it's all right to protest, and they are once again showing completely an ignorant attitude.
Let us not forget that protest, and that too hartal, is a legitimate means of protest. People have a right to protest. What cannot be condoned is violence and forcible shutdown. Now, the governments and the courts, Kerala High Court, if you remember, had explicitly stated that bandhs are not to be allowed, that too enforced by the political parties. Here we see that there is no political party involved, only the trade unions are involved. Even the Congress trade unions are involved in this in states like Kerala. So let us not forget that while it is a legitimate way of expressing, and this is to provide relief only, to express the resentment of the people against the anti-labor laws, against demanding relief, because people are affected by price rise and other issues. But at the same time, it has to be ensured that there is no violence and also that there is no forcible closure. People are not forced to shut down their shops or establishments, and violence has to be condemned at any cost.
All right, Mr. Suresh. Now moving on, the government has several important bills to push through in the budget session that starts today with the presidential address. But how much work is the government going to get done? The VVIP helicopter scam, the hanging of Afzal Guru, price rise and a host of other issues threaten to make this another stormy session of the parliament. In fact, there are very important bills, crucial bills, even the women's safety bill and the amendment to the criminal law which will be introduced in the parliament. Also to talk about the kind of the budget which we presented in the parliament, many said that it will be a populist budget. In fact, the Congress leaders had met the finance minister to chalk out a populist budget, because let's not forget the General Assembly elections are scheduled next year. To get a perspective on this, Mr. KG Suresh, who is a political analyst. So when you look at the strategy which the Congress party workers are trying to bring forward, do you think that populist budget is what the country needs now?
Well, certainly, whether it needs now or not, the UPA certainly needs a populist budget at this point of time. Price rise is one issue over which the people are agitated. You have assembly elections coming up in 10 states, and they are very, very crucial both for the Congress, and in 5 states you have a direct confrontation with the BJP. Apart from that, there is widespread speculation that the government may go for an early, election by year end. If that's the case, then this would be virtually the last budget of the UPA too. Then certainly the government would like to utilize this opportunity to neutralize, one, the attack on it by the opposition, particularly with regard to price rise, and to give, whether it is in the form of tax benefits or other relief, there may be an attempt which is expected that an effort would be made. Then of course the other important bills are pending for the UPA too. This is not just another session. This is a very crucial session where bills including the food security bill, which is very crucial even from the electoral point of view, that's pending. The Lokpal bill is there. Yes. You have the women's ordinance, which has to be converted into a law, a proper law. So I think these are very challenging, and I think that is the reason why this time the government, took a proactive initiative to please the BJP, to placate the BJP ahead of the session, and apologize, virtually, express regret. And it also remains to be seen whether the government will insist, because last time the session virtually was disrupted for a long time because there was a demand for a discussion under a particular rule. Now that stalled Parliament for so many days.
In fact, clearly there are a lot of challenges.
And here one more thing, we have already seen that Mr. Kamal Nath has already said that he is ready, the government is ready for a JPC into the chopper deal. That means that the government is trying to preempt the opposition's attack.
Clearly, in fact, there are a lot of challenges for the government. Now, last perspective, in fact, rather view from you, Mr. KG Suresh, as far as the strategy is concerned, like, mentioned by Deepak Bajpai and also Sudesh talking about the important bills, how do you see this entire budget session panning out?
I think that it would be a game of wits between the government and the opposition. The government would try to divide the opposition as far as possible, like what Deepak mentioned, that the promotion in caste, which is a major issue, particularly for BSP. The attempt would be to divide the opposition, and the opposition on its part would try to unite on as many issues as possible. And it's going to be a very interesting session. And what is important is that important legislations are ahead. No doubt, if it is stormy, there is no problem. But at the end of the day, there should be deliberation. The people of India want to see good, healthy discussions in the Parliament.
That's right. In fact, as pointed out by Mr. Suresh, that we hope that the crucial bills in fact are passed, because at the end of the day, the business hours of the Parliament should be utilized to the best advantage for the common man. But thanks a lot, Deepak Bajpai, my colleague, who brought us that perspective from Capital, Sudesh Verma joining us from the newsroom, and thanks a lot to Mr. KG Suresh for bringing us this entire story to a more clear perspective to us. Now, that's a wrap for this bulletin. News and updates will continue on the other side, but up ahead is our special show, Flashback.